What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 Tech 3 Challenge for the 5th round of this 2025 season, coming from Aragon for the Aragon Grand Prix. If you missed the last episode, I recommend you go back and check it out at Mugello in the Tuscan hills of magical Mugello. It wasn't quite magical for us. No points for us in the sprint race, and then we battled through to an 8th position at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, thanks to a long lap penalty for Johann Zarco that promoted us up into the top 8. However, normal service has resumed here in Aragon as we have to face qualifying one for the probably 4th time out of the 5 rounds that we're entering now. So not one lap doesn't seem to be my thing on the MotoGP bikes, and once again we were at the bottom of the pile in Q1. However, Marc Marquez at his backyard, Aragon, the circuit that he's been so dominant at in the past, he's got to go through qualifying one as well. So Marc Marquez down in 11th position at the end of practice. He's got Q1 ahead of him. I would expect him to get out of qualifying 1 and into qualifying 2, but we know how important qualifying is in MotoGP. If you don't qualify on them first 3 rows of the grid, then your weekend is ruined. If you can't get into Q2 and get at least in the top 4 rows of the grid, your weekend is pretty ruined in the sense of real life MotoGP. The game obviously not quite as much, but in terms of AI performance, you know, we have seen riders who qualify out of position, let's say, down the order compared to where they should be, and they haven't been able to recover as you would expect them to in the race. But we've got a job on our hands if we want to get through into Q2 for, like I say, the first time in quite a long time. I can't remember the last time we were in Q2 in this series. That is how long it's been since we've put our bike inside the top 12 and at the end of qualifying 2. But we're on a lap here at the start of Q1. We've got a 46.9 under our belts. It's not the best lap in the world, and we are already 8 tenths of a second, 9 tenths of a second, 1 second quicker than that one. The target time is kind of mid to low 45, and straight on cue, Jorge Martin bangs in a 45.6, and he currently leads teammate Bezzecchi, but the lap times are coming in now from the other riders, with DG leading his teammate Morbidelli on a 45.5, but we get the final corner wrong. We lose a bit of time there, losing a couple of tenths on the inside curve that pushed us wide, and annoyingly we were red in the 3rd sector and we lose a good couple of tenths, and that puts us down into P6, but only a tenth and a bit away, well, 2 tenths and a bit away from Fabio Di Gianantonio. But as we skip on time, the same thing has happened once again as Maverick Vinales bangs in a 42.9, some 2.8 seconds quicker than what we've already done. Martin has gone 8 tenths quicker than us, and he's second to last with Bezzecchi in 11th. Marc Marquez, as it stands, 19th on the grid. He's 9th in Q1. He needs a lap here at the end of qualifying in Aragon, so keep an eye on him on the left hand side of the screen on the table, and keep an eye on his sector icons and his indicators. Rins behind him has gone through the 1st sector with a grey indicator, so nothing special for him. He's just ahead of us on track, but as we skip on to the end of our lap, well, kind of midway through the lap, we've got it all wrong. Down into turn 12, a big handful of the clutch and the throttle in pure frustration, but we're not going to get round for another lap because the checker flag is out, and importantly as well, Marc Marquez had 2 grey indicators to end his lap, so he's not been able to get through, and he will start the Aragon Grand Prix, the championship leader, from 9th on the grid, and his teammate and soon to be championship rival Pecco Bagnaia will start on pole position. So we've got big drama here in the Tech 3 Challenge as the championship leader starts from 19th, Bagnaia on pole, but once again we're going for glory from the back of the grid.
Pecco Bagnaia triggered the whole shot device, ready to start from pole position. Just a few more moments and the Grand Prix will begin.
Here we go then, the sprint race at Aragon. 4 laps of the Motorland Aragon circuit ahead of us. Starting from the back of the grid, we've got Martin alongside us, Bezzecchi just ahead of us. The lights are out and away we go. It's not a good start. We mistimed the lights quite badly there, and we were still stationary as everybody else went away in towards turn number 1, but that's okay because we can brake a little bit later. Just look at where the other riders are going and pick our line through the tricky turn 1, turn 2 section, and we have made up a handful of positions already into 19th position and up the inside of a couple more. We lose a couple though because one of the Aprilias, Martin I think that was, it is indeed, goes flying through the inside in towards turn 5 though. We get caught up to the back of Martin, run into the back of the number 1 Aprilia, but we are through and up into, as we get a big hit from Gian Antonio on the VR46 bike, but we are into 17th position, so a couple of positions gained at the start of this race, but we're still under threat from Gian Antonio. We cut across his nose and take the wide approach around turn 9 on the left of the downhill corkscrew and make up 4 places and brought ourselves up into 13th position now. So a very good start as we head round Marc Marquez corner for the first time, and then powering up towards turn 11 and then down into the tricky turn 12 on the left hand side of Fernandez, and we get our way through on the Trackhouse bike. Do we know he's coming back at us though as we turn right for turn 13 and now into this tricky right-hander again, another downhill braking zone. Turn right, and then it's all about now getting on the exit of this left-hander of turn 15 and getting the power down. Everybody Constantina and bunching up into that turn 15 and kind of ruined our momentum and ruined our drive there. And Alex Marquez will be safe, I think, from an attack on the braking zone, but we're going to brake a little bit early, carry a little bit more corner speed on the way in, get the bike turned, and this is going to be a move up the inside of Alex Marquez. Not quite, the Spaniard hanging it round the outside on the Grassini bike, and he does maintain 11th position, but as we cross the line to end the first lap, we've gone from P23 and we crossed the line in P12, but as we head into turn 1, we're through on Alex Marquez. Further back, Alex Rins, he's crashed out on the opening lap, and his sprint race came to an early conclusion, but we are up into 11th, and the next man on our list is the other Yamaha rider of Miguel Oliveira on the Prima Pramac Yamaha, who I think, barring Quartararo, is the second highest Yamaha in this race, but we get through on him. A bit of a move that wasn't really meant to be a move. It wasn't going to be a move that I was planning to make, but we ended up getting up the inside of Oliveira into turn 5, and we're up into P10. And now the next man on our list is Joan Mir, who currently hangs on to the final point-paying position in this sprint race, but we're going to do something about that. I'm pretty sure we're going to try and get past the factory Honda rider, the number 36 man, the Spaniard, the 2020 MotoGP World Champion with Suzuki, and now he's under pressure because we're going to go round the outside in towards turn number 12. There's not going to be enough room, and there's a little bit of contact between myself and the Honda, and we have to just bail out of that one and run off the track, and then we're going to just safely rejoin on the inside, get out of the rider's way in case we came back on and hit Oliveira. But we do hang on to 10th. We didn't lose any positions, but we did lose a bit of time to Joan Mir, and annoyingly we can't get past the Spaniard just yet, so we've got to bide our time. Onto the back straight for the second time, closing the end of the second lap. We're closing in on Mir on the Honda, but we're not going to be close enough. We did have a bit of a look in towards turn 16, but we broke a little bit too late, and again just getting sucked in. The transfer from the weight from the rear to the front of this KTM, it just will not allow me to turn in that first initial turn in. We have to really make sure we do all of our braking in a straight line. We can't trail brake in these into these corners on this KTM bike, is what I'm finding, until we get a little bit of kind of fuel consumption under our belts and a little bit of the tyre starting to drop off a little bit. Then the bike starts to come to us. So hopefully in the longer race, in the 8-lap Grand Prix, as we get up the inside of Mir into turn 5, our classic turn 5 move that's starting to come to fruition here in the Aragon Grand Prix. But yeah, once the bike starts to level off a little bit in terms of tyre wear and fuel, it's when the bike starts coming to me. So hopefully in the other 4 laps of the Grand Prix that we've got to do in the 8-lap Grand Prix of Aragon, we can maybe try and come forward in this phase of the race from lap 4 onwards. But we do get through on Mir finally. A big battle between myself and Joan Mir for the final sprint point, and now we can set our sights on Aldeguer, and actually Miller is up there as well on the other Yamaha. So my bad, my apologies to Jack. Oliveira was the 3rd highest Yamaha because his teammate Jack Miller is doing the business in 7th position, but the other Yamaha of Fabio Quartararo still running somewhere near the front on the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP M1. But as we fly through turn number 11 down into turn 12, we're not close enough for a move on Aldeguer, and in fact we get it a little bit wrong. But if you just take a look at the top left of your screen and the order of this sprint Grand Prix, Bagnaia is winning the sprint. Marc Marquez nowhere to be seen, out of the points in this one. But second and third is our teammate Maverick Vinales and our teammate Enea Bastianini. So the Tech 3 KTMs are doing the business here in Aragon, and it looks like they are going to hang on to what will be a first podium finish for Hervé Poncharoll's team. It's going to be second and third for Vinales and Bastianini, but there's no stopping Bagnaia out front. We can't do anything about Aldeguer and Miller in front of us, so we're going to take a point in the sprint, and our first sprint race point for some time. We get across the line in 9th position, a 46.3, so the pace is there, or thereabouts, which is a good thing for us. It's Bagnaia though on top, Vinales, Bastianini, Acosta and Binder all doing the business for KTM, which bodes well for the race.
Welcome to all you MotoGP fans, Gavin Emmett here, and we are live from Alcagny, ready to bring you the Aragon Grand Prix. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the MotoGP class race.
Alright, sprint race under our belts. It was a good one from the back of the grid, and as we've seen with all of the KTM riders, barring ourselves, inside the top 5, the KTM looks to be working around the Aragon circuit, so we've got to play that into our advantage, make a good start again and try and get in the mix early on. So let's see what we can do in the 8-lap Grand Prix here at Motorland Aragon.
Our lights are about to go out. Pecco Bagnaia is starting from the front row thanks to that pole position from yesterday. All hell will break loose in a few moments.
Pecco Bagnaia, Quartararo and Vinales is your front row for Motorland Aragon. 8 laps of the Aragon Grand Prix are underway, and again it's not a good start from us. We missed the lights again, and the run into turn number 1. Morbidelli's had a shocker as well. He's gone backwards in towards this opening left-hander. We go a little bit wide as we try to break as late as possible. We do make up positions though on Morbidelli and Marco Bezzecchi, and Marc Marquez, who has gone backwards at the start of this race. He's down into about 21st position, and unfortunately for him, he's going to have a long race ahead of him, a big mountain to climb as we get tripped up to the back of Jorge Martin, who made his way through. But again, through turn number 5, just taking a wider line as all the other riders battle and jockey for position. We sneak around the outside and say thank you very much, and we're up into P13, and now we've got Luca Marini and Joan Mir ahead of us. So the 2 Honda bikes locked in a battle with the other Idemitsu LCR Honda of Somkiat Chantra. There's a bit of contact with the Thai rider as we get through on Mir. We kind of got tripped up to the back of a slower Somkiat Chantra, but no harm done. He's still there right behind us, and we're up into P12 now with just Luca Marini ahead of us, and then it's Brad Binder who currently holds on to 10th position, so a 5th place for him in the sprint, and he's made an okay start to the Grand Prix in P10. But it's Fabio Quartararo on the Yamaha who leads the way. He's jumped Bagnaia. Vinales still there in 3rd position, and I think Bastianini still holding P4 as we get up the inside of not just Marini, but we also ended up getting alongside the side of Brad Binder's KTM, and it's now a battle of the 2 RC16s in a straight line. Binder's going to get it though. He's got a little bit more punch out of that corner, and he will hang on to the position. But as we're going to swoop around the outside to then cut to the inside, a nice little natural switchback, as Jamie calls it, a bike dancing through the final corner, and we get ahead of the South African, and we're into P10 now. So a very strong start to the Aragon Grand Prix from the back of the grid. And now the next man is the man who gifted us a top 8 in Mugello thanks to a long lap penalty. It's the French Grand Prix victor in real life, the podium finisher at Silverstone, and is now going to be done by us into turn 5. Zarco demoted to 10th, and we're up into P9, the position that we finished the sprint race. But a bit of a moment there as we go through the left-hander and then the right-hander of turns 5 and 6, and that's just put us in a vulnerable position and allowed Zarco back through as we couldn't get on the brakes early enough into turn 7, running wide, and the Frenchman is back through. So our momentary bit of progress there comes to a bit of a halt as we're down into P10 once more. But we're going to line up the move. We're going to try and hold a nice tight line through Marc Marquez corner, get on the power, get the drive in towards turn 12 on the brakes, and we're going to be through on Zarco. It gets tight between myself and the Frenchman, but there's no way that Zarco can hang on to that position, and we're through and up into P9 once more, and we can set our sights on Raul Fernandez as Alex Marquez further back picks up a long lap penalty. So disastrous for Mark's brother Alex, who I'm not actually sure where Alex is in this World Championships table, but that won't do him any favours, already mired further down the pack. Next up on our list though is Fernandez, and we're going to make the iconic switch back into turn 5 down the inside of the Trackhouse Aprilia, and we're through and up into P8 now. So making progress here in Aragon as Fernandez is going to try and come back at us. There's no way through though as we cut across the nose of the Spaniard, and we're through, and we will finally secure P8. And we've got Acosta ahead of us on the other KTM bike. Then it's Fermin Aldeguer. Oliveira's having a very good ride in P4. He's got Bastianini behind him, but he is crawling all over the back of Maverick Vinales. So we're in a train here for what is third position, and we've still got 3 laps of the race, including this one to go. Could we maybe do the unthinkable here and get a podium position? Well, we're making a move here on Acosta and Fermin Aldeguer into Carlos Checa corner, and we're through on the Spaniard, but he's going to get the switchback, but we're going to have the line into turn 5. We've gone a little bit wide though, and Aldeguer gets through, and there's contact between the two of us as we come off the curb, and we've damaged the bike of the KTM. We've damaged the front wing of the KTM, and we're going to pick up a little bit more damage here because we're going to get it very close to Acosta, and that actually damaged the right side of the fairing as well. So now we've got no aerodynamics on the front of our KTM RC16, which isn't a problem, because if you think back to the Catalan Grand Prix a couple of episodes ago, the bike actually was so much better with no aero on the front of it. So hopefully, I know that it's a little bit of a different nature and the layout and quirkiness of this circuit with the undulation and stuff here at Aragon, a lot more extreme compared to what it is in Barcelona, but it might play into our hands here, and we might actually find that we pick up a little bit more pace and a little bit more consistency and a bit more feeling. Oliveira's gone down though in front of us as we're talking about that, and feeling Oliveira's run out and is crashed out of the Aragon Grand Prix from P4, and that promotes Enea Bastianini back into 4th, and Maverick Vinales holding 3rd at the moment. So all of a sudden, if we can clear Fermin Aldeguer, we're going to be in a KTM Tech 3 train for what is 3rd position in the Aragon Grand Prix. Bastianini and Vinales got sprint success. They tasted a bit of sprint champagne, but we're going for it here in the Grand Prix. We want that first Grand Prix podium for Tech 3. We haven't had one yet. We haven't been near the podium yet, and we're going to get up the inside of Bastianini into turn number 1, and we are through on the beast momentarily though, because it's coming back at us, as is Fermin Aldeguer into turn 2, but we get the switch back, and on the way into turn 3 we are into P4, and now we can set our sights on Vinales, but not quite, because Bastianini is coming straight back at us. We're going to try and get back through on the beast, but no way through into turn 5. We couldn't do our classic turn 5 move and carry the speed up the inside of Enea Bastianini, and we've got to just bide our time now and play patient, because I know that if we lock ourselves in a battle too much with Bastianini, Vinales is going to get away. He's already got a 1.1 second gap, and into the downhill corkscrew we were briefly ahead of Bastianini, but Bastianini better on the brakes into that section of the track, and he maintains 4th position as it stands on this penultimate lap of the Aragon Grand Prix. We're going to get the run on him though, get the ride height device activated in a bit of a unique place. You don't see much ride height activation down into turn number 12, but we've gone deep on the brakes, and we're going to have to relinquish that position and give Bastianini that 4th place back. But Aldeguer still there lurking, and look who's just sitting comfortably in 7th as well. Pedro Acosta, if he could get through on Aldeguer to have a KTM in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, that would be pretty good after the struggles and challenges that this Tech 3 challenge has given us. But on the way into turn 1 on this final lap, we got the run on Bastianini, and we're through into P4, so we are into 4th position, but Bastianini is going to come back at us. We sit the bike up just in time. That still though allows us to get the switch back on him into turn 2, and we are through on the exit of turn 2 into P4 once again. But again, Bastianini better through turn 3 into 4, and then up the inside again at 5. There's a bit of contact, but on the last lap of the race you could probably allow it and let us off there, as we're both fighting hard for this 4th place. Vinales has gone, he's 2 seconds up the road. He has this 3rd place in his pocket, providing a disastrous ending to the Aragon Grand Prix, but we have cleared Bastianini. We are into P4, and we now need the sector of our life to put a bit of air between myself and Enea Bastianini and put ourselves in a comfortable position to finish 2nd in this Tech 3 battle of Vinales, myself and Bastianini. Acosta still there in 7th. He's not found a way through on Aldeguer, but out front Bagnaia leads. He's got ahead of Quartararo earlier in this Grand Prix and has not looked back since, but he's still under pressure though from the Frenchman on the Yamaha, who's sitting pretty in 2nd position. Vinales is going to make it a double podium finish though, a 2nd in the sprint and a 3rd in the Grand Prix. We can't do anything about it, but we do have enough gap behind and enough breathing space to make sure that we hang on to what will be a 4th position, and surely our best result of the Tech 3 challenge so far. We come through the final corner, just one more apex to hit. There it is on the left hand side of turn 17. We come across the line, we pull a wheelie, we flip over the back of it in excitement, but it is going to be P4 in the Aragon Grand Prix, the fastest lap of the race as well. We had the pace in that one. It was a much better race for us. Marc Marquez there completing the top 12, but it is his teammate who wins, which will not do him any favours for the championship. A couple of points just to limit the damage done a fraction. The gap at the top has gone from 45 points at the start of, I think, the last episode to 26 points at the end of the Aragon Grand Prix. We've managed to jump Morbidelli as well, so we've made progress in the title race. We're up to 7th, 92 points behind Marc Marquez. Our championship bid, it was never going to be on, I think, in our first season on a MotoGP bike, but if we can challenge for a top 5, then I will take that as well. We've made some progress in the Teams Championship. We're up to 5th. Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP have taken back 2nd position thanks to Fabio Quartararo's result in the Aragon Grand Prix. Ducati continue to lead the way in the Constructors' Championship. But next up, we return to a classic on the MotoGP calendar, back on the calendar for 2025, the Czech Grand Prix at Brno, and hopefully we can have another good result and challenge once again for a top 5, a good 4th position there. We need to start getting the momentum now. We need to build on this and start taking big points in this challenge to try and move our way further and further up the table. But there we go, that is it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you for a brand new video very soon. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.